Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jeffrey Epstein.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz, guys. Welcome to episode 166 of the Untapped Podcast. Now, this is where we usually do our full intro, but we're going to skip it today because you guys know it by now, all right? At least for today. We're going to skip it. We have 5 formats. We have Forging Fortitudes, where we talk about the mental side of our brand. We have Physical Vitality, which is where we talk about the physical side of our brand.
And we also have Breaking News. That is our current event side of the brand. Knight's Table, that's the masculinity side of the brand. And then we have our guest episodes, which we sit down with basically anybody who brings you value in those.
Yeah.
And then we'll introduce one more thing here. Our producer, my brother, Mitchell Gabel.
It's good.
What's up, Mitch?
Not much.
You're
Speed
dark
racer.
over there.
Yeah, I am.
Can't even see you.
He wanted to make a joke there real bad.
I didn't make any jokes. Yeah, just,
Your eyes said it all.
I'm like
Yeah, they did.
I'm like Robert Pattinson. I'm the
He's
Pattinson.
Batman. Yep.
I am bad.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, all we need is Affleck Batman when he's lifting in that scene.
Yes.
Oh, it's a badass
Sick
scene.
part.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
That's any man should be required to watch that scene of him
Facts.
working out.
Facts.
100%.
Yes.
They ruin the rest of his character. but
Well, yeah.
That's, is what it is.
Neither here nor there.
No, of
Yeah.
course.
Well, guys, we have a breaking news episode for you. Breaking news, everybody. I feel like we need to add like an alarm when we say breaking news.
We should.
Yeah, Mitch, you need to work on that.
We could
Okay.
have like a sound add in, truthfully.
Yeah, I mean,
it could be very
Real AF
difficult.
is doing it now when they talk about the grape energy drink with DJ.
Yeah, the chirping, the ceiling bird.
Ceiling bird. Dude, it kills me when they do that. Oh my gosh.
DJ's the one who eggs it on every time, too.
100%.
It's like
Oh,
this dude right
Yeah,
here.
Yeah. Anyway, we do have a breaking news episode for you guys tonight, or today, I should say. And we're going to talk about, is the divide too deep? What do you think?
In this country.
Is it too deep?
I think if we're answering the question straight up here, the divide, and guys, like, I think you know what we're talking about, the divide ideologically between the country, so to speak.
Yeah.
On every single topic, whether it's nature happening and catastrophic events happening, whether it's elections, whether it's things like COVID.
Yeah.
We saw that plenty. I think anybody that had their eyes open at all during 2020 to 2022 or whatever, they
Before
saw that.
that, you had the Mike Brown stuff.
Before you had Mike Brown and Ferguson. Yep, 100%. And then that led to George Floyd and all this other stuff. So we're talking about the divide on the two sides of those topics. And again, like, it can be broken down into subsides on, especially the right. The right has a lot of different subcategories that people fall into. There's no doubt about that.
And the left does too, for that matter.
The left does. They seem to be a little bit more ideologically similar across the board a lot of the times with their ideas,
Yeah, you're right.
Like, at least they agree. They acquiesce to certain things easier than the right does. Like the right, we're like, there's like a, Israel side and then a non-Israel side. You know what I mean? Like, that's a good example of there too. And there is a big divide there now going on.
Heck, there's a Trump and a not Trump side.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right side.
Which is well fueled right now for
It
sure.
is.
So
is.
Can we bridge that gap at all?
Between the two main ones.
Between the
is
two
what
main
we're
ones
kind
we're
of
talking about.
focusing
Because
on.
otherwise, if we go down the whole rabbit hole, that could be a 2-hour episode easily.
Yeah. And I would say it's probably a necessary one, but quite honestly, I think people know. Or at least are coming to the conclusions kind of on their own, at their own pace. You had Tucker at that
Turning Point. Student Action Summit. Yep.
Yeah, right. And he went up there and he just said it all. And he's kind of been doing that since he started his own stuff, when he left Fox or whatever. But you got people like that who they're just saying it now. Nick Fuentes, same thing.
Young conservatives are especially making a big push right now towards certain ideas that are much more traditional compared to what,
Absolutely.
like, similar to what we founded this country on.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also not being afraid to point out the BS and point out the control of our country and the occupying of our country is what it appears to be. I actually have had a couple week long conversation here. It's kind of been in little bursts with a very close friend of ours. This has been through text, but on all this Israel stuff. And we're kind of on our side of things. You and me, we're on our side of things, and he is not. He's definitely on the other side of most topics. However, there's been tons and tons of agreement on this whole Israel stuff, the Israel-Iran stuff, the Trump stuff, the Epstein stuff. And I see that as a very good thing, a positive, that there's a lot of common ground, especially on those big topics right now. And those are some of the more important ones because we can't let those things just slide away because you had Trump, what was that, last week? In that, whatever that was. That
conference with
AG
Pam Bondi.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I think Rubio was in between those two.
He kind of looked lost the whole time. That's not the point.
Actually.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
He did. Where, Trump was like annoyed that he was still being questioned about the Epstein stuff. He's like, basically said, why does this matter still? And it's like, this absolutely matters. It matters because the American public would like to know if our government and our country is blackmailed and compromised by a foreign government running some kind of pedophile operation.
Yep.
I mean, that 100% matters, So don't tell us and don't be annoyed when you get questions about that. That was pretty frustrating.
Extremely.
And you and I, we've had several conversations personally about that specific, clip that went around and that topic in general. We've talked about it plenty here on the podcast with you guys and amongst ourselves as well. But that's one of the few, right now anyway, one of the few topics that maybe the bridge isn't gapped per se going towards the question here or the topic, but it's one that there's a lot of common ground on, and maybe that's a start to bridging the gap.
The only two start to bridging the gap is the Israel and an understanding overall that the healthcare system is broken to a big degree.
Yeah, it's a good point.
That would be the other one I would see the most. But the solutions to fixing the healthcare system are very different on both sides. Like people are aware there's a big problem, but then the solutions on both sides are completely different in a lot of ways. So I don't know if that's as much of a bridge as possible. And there is also the problem with the Israel stuff to where then they become, instead of, pro-Israel, as a lot of the Zionists on the side of the right are, instead of pro-Israel, you got the people becoming pro-Palestine because of that. And it's like, no, we're pro-America. And that's it. It's America first. Like I get like 100% we should sanction people that commit war crimes, 100% in Gaza, for example. But that's not our first concern.
No.
We have tens of millions of illegal immigrants in this country. You know what I mean? And like, so that's my problem when it's like, no, the whole situation, it pisses me off. I'm not pro either.
Yeah, right.
I'm pro neither.
I'm pro. How about we stop funding that
I'm definitely
stuff
not pro
there?
Anything in the Middle East.
No.
At all.
No.
Including Israel.
Right. Right.
I'm not worried about Ukraine.
No.
I really am not at all.
Yeah.
Like it's not something that I think that's all a facade entirely.
We know it is.
I mean, it is. That's been known for a little bit now. But I think you're right. Those are two starting points for bridging some kind of gap. But the problem is the biggest one that I continue to come back to and continue to see is immigration.
It is.
Because there's still this idea that every human is legal or that every human is a citizen, this like global world type stuff on one side. And then the side that we're on where it's like deport every single one of them.
Yeah.
And we need to like completely rechange our country back to what what we're talking about before the 1920s of immigration policies, like well before the 1920s at this point in time. Because that's 1920s, 1930s is when the melting pot terminology was coined.
Yeah.
At that point in time. So it was all very subversive.
By?
What's his name?
Oh, I don't care about his name, but what is he?
Yeah. We have ideas there. I think it's Leo something, I believe, actually it is. But anyways.
Leo Rockefeller.
Is it Leo Strauss? Maybe it's Leo Strauss. No. Anyways, doesn't matter. But that term was coined in 1920s, 1930s. And that's when the policy of immigration completely changed in the United States for the worse at that point in time. So, and then Hart-Celler Act's another one in around the 1950s, 1960s time at that point in time where it started allowing more loopholes toward immigration as well. And then now, the boomer generation allowed it to occur continuously more and more down the hill at that point in time because they're mostly in leadership now. And we're at where we're at with immigration.
Right.
So that one is a huge one because the problem is, it's like, it's cool if somebody recognizes that Israel's an evil country. Okay. It's pretty obvious. Like they're not our ally at all.
Correct.
Like I think anybody with half a brain that is not biased toward it can understand, okay, like Israel is a problem. Like, no, for sure.
Yeah.
all the way around.
I mean, when we have our entire Congress giving this guy that standing ovation that lasted for minutes, and he's just walking down the aisle, shaking hands, giving hugs, high fives, and all this other stuff. It's just like, what? Like, are we living in the Truman Show or something? Like, maybe not even Truman Show, but like, are we living in some kind of just weird reality?
Yeah.
Which honestly, we are. We are. Where we're like putting this other world leader on a pedestal and just bowing down to whatever he does and says. And it's like, you've got Trump one week saying that Israel and Iran don't know what they're doing on the White House lawn. It's like, hey, yeah, hell yeah. Like, push the gas pedal on that, you know? And then the following week, Netanyahu's in town, and there's just no Epstein list.
And Trump calls him like a great man or something like that.
Yeah, the greatest man in the world, I think, is what he said.
I hope that's not what he said.
I think that was the literal quote. Like, yeah, I'm not even kidding. And it's just like,
that's an insane thing to say.
It really is.
Like, I mean, talking about gobbling a world leader.
Yeah,
like,
oh my gosh.
I mean, can you imagine the stuff Mossad has on our Congress and whatnot? I mean, they must have some horrendous stuff on them. Just horrible.
Yeah.
The information they pull out of it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's looking like Trump might be a part of that.
Yeah, that's the question because Andy's raised some fair questions on Real AF, the Real AF podcast, to where like, is there something more to it? And very well, is there a possibility of that? 100%. Is there also a possibility he is the Zion Don they talk about? Yes, 100%. There's also a possibility of that. You know, so I don't know, but really grassroots in a lot of ways, like you always do come back to the immigration issue because grassroots, like if you start actually deporting what they're supposed to, which they're not doing right now, you will see actual change in this country because of that. You know, you will see ground level change. Right now, obviously, our government is so owned by Israel right now that we have to, that's a whole nother issue that's got to be handled in a very organized manner. Yeah. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So, but on the other end, we just added $175 billion of funding for ICE, which is the only good part of the big, beautiful bill that I found so far, actually, for that matter. But which should have just been the ICE bill. And that's it at this point in time.
Right.
But so if they have, you know, I believe they added 18,000 new agents is the goal. They will be adding 18,000 new agents is the goal. Like the 6,000 they had on top of that, which is very low.
It is.
So if they have 25,000 guys, okay, we can start making real progress. Yeah. If we start seeing real progress with that, that's ground level stuff. That's a good thing of Trump's administration. But then, you know, you have the people that fight against that ideologically. And they say that, you know, immigration's great for society and all that stuff. But then they're the same ones who go out in the city and they're like, I can't, like, they're the girls who walk around the city and talk about how they can't walk around with headphones on because they're worried about being kidnapped.
Right.
It's like, well, I mean, one, if we were harsher on crime, which you also don't want.
Right.
And then we also deported all these people, you wouldn't have that issue in cities. Instead, we allow crime to run rampant in our cities. And then it's also increased by illegal immigration too. Right. Because it's unvetted people that come into these. And it's just, and then you have
primarily males,
yeah. And you have the ones like there was the lady in Florida who had been here for like 20 years, still hadn't learned English, by the way, at this point in time, hadn't learned English, and then they deported her, but they were like, oh, it's this old woman, like that's so sad and whatnot. And it's like, bro, like I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
She obviously don't want to become a citizen in this country. She didn't even know English at this point in time.
In 20 years.
Yeah. So, and then she had taken no path to legal citizenship in that time at all or anything like that and shown no interest in that whatsoever. You know, and then it's all the emotional stuff. You have out in California, you use these weird emotional manipulation tactics. So you have like one side who isn't manipulated by emotion, which is a lot of the young conservative men right now.
Specific.
Yeah, young, especially us three in here are very, like, we don't make decisions based on emotion when it comes to policy. Our policy doesn't look at like, is it going to make us cry?
Right.
For example.
Right.
It looks at, is this going to make my country better for my daughter? That's on the way for me in my example and your guys' future kids. You know what I mean? So that's how we look at it. And that's a massive ideological divide.
Yeah.
Because you talk about people that work on emotion entirely when they look at policy, which never governs a country well. Every country and empire that's had that happen has fallen in history. British Empire, Roman Empire, probably the Mongols too. I haven't even looked at the Mongol Empire. I guarantee you they had the same issue. I know the Persian Empire had the same thing. Degeneracy was rampant in there. You know, all these different examples of like how society falls when it leans toward the emotional side of things. So that's where you have to like, okay, can we bridge that?
That's
a chasm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a long bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that might actually be a bigger bridge to gap than the Israel thing. Or sorry, I worded that not
More
how
difficult.
I meant to. A bigger problem
Yes.
to fix than the Israel thing, which this episode isn't necessarily just all about the Israel stuff. It does correlate and it does matter to this conversation, but like you mentioned a couple times now, it is a separate thing. But you also have to think it's like how much of this is impacted by that and influenced by that. Because that has a lot of influence in a lot of other degenerate things going on in our country. You know? So can you talk about one without the other? Maybe. But maybe not.
Yep.
So it's like, where do you start?
Yeah.
That's the real question. You know, it's where do you start? And that is probably an entirely different type of episode. Mm-hmm. But getting people to think not emotionally about these types of things is damn near impossible. Mm-hmm. We've been a part of conversations where it's damn near impossible to have a conversation instead of a talking down to or an argument.
Our intelligence agencies have literally developed projects that show if they can manipulate people through propaganda.
Right.
In the media, in commercials,
and it
in TV,
works.
All of it, in Hollywood, all of it. Like MK Ultra is a real thing.
Not only that, and it's funny too, because the right specifically says, you know, look at all the left propaganda, look at all the left propaganda, look at CNN and MSNBC. It's like, bro, Fox News is the same way.
Exact same.
The exact same way.
You got Hannity. I mean, him and Netanyahu must have some kind of very fruitful relationship going on in some interesting manner going on. But I mean,
Mark Levin,
you would think you would think Hannity is like the grandson of Netanyahu or something like that, or like his grandfather Netanyahu's bought him all these toys and whatnot, or something.
Right.
I don't know,
right.
something.
No,
it's either that or a homosexual.
There might be toys
I don't know.
involved. Yeah. Mark Levin might be the cameraman too.
Mark Levin, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
It was insane.
But again, it's propaganda. It's what you're talking about.
It is.
So there is right wing propaganda too.
100%, without a doubt. And people on the right either fail or choose to not see it. It's like, dude, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Two wings of the same bird.
100%.
Yeah.
And you know, this goes into an even deeper level of this conversation. It's like the two-party system has to be abandoned at some point. Otherwise, this type of stuff doesn't happen.
Not to
or
mention,
doesn't
along
change.
that same topic, we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic.
Yeah.
Like if I hear democracy one more time, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
Because like if this is democracy, it doesn't work.
Facts.
Like democracy doesn't mean just like every person in the population can vote. I literally commented on Will Bates, one of his posts about this chick talking about how she was like looking to go down to Alligator Alcatraz and like free these immigrants in there or something like that. It was the weirdest video I've ever watched in my life. And this chick maybe had like a working 73 IQ, maybe.
Nice.
And I commented, I was like, her vote counts the same as ours.
Just under Mitch's.
Just under. Yep.
Yeah.
His is what, 77?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Give or take.
So give or take. But you know, so I was literally watching this video and I'm like, that's the first thing that came to mind. I was like, her vote counts the same as ours. And I commented then on Will's post. You know, got a lot of likes, of course. And it's like, you look at that and it's like, if this is the experiment that democracy is, I mean, we're talking the lowest quintile of the population that is on all the disability benefits, they're on all the welfare, they're on all this stuff.
Disability, by the way.
Disability, of course. I'm talking about the ones that actually don't have disabilities in this scenario, you know, and like, it's just ridiculous because you have these people that have no, like they're very low intelligence. They have no actual useful skills for the society that we live in at all. And they still have the same vote as we do.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, genuinely, that is a ridiculous concept. Democracy was never used in that way, by the way, throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
It was like people of good character got to vote.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, and it was also like property owners and things like that, too.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%.
And not just in the U.S. either.
Yep,
like that used to be a thing elsewhere as well.
Yeah. Well, because you have more say in the country. Like, imagine anybody who owned a home and paid taxes in the United States were the only people that were able to vote, right? Or owned some kind of whatever it is, like, you know, had a steady job and paid taxes and whatnot.
I mean,
let's break it down to that. And they were the only ones who could vote.
Right.
I mean, this country would be redder than the Sahara Desert. The Sahara Desert is very red, but I mean, I don't know. Is it? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's like sand brown.
Whatever. Yeah,
Tan.
we'll go with that one,
Tan.
guys. Whatever.
No, but it's not even that it would be red. It would just be working and flourishing. You know,
more,
and whether that's red or blue, it doesn't matter.
More important than the Republican aspect. 100%.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Let me
I get your
clarify my
point.
there.
I get your point.
Yeah. It would be focused on families. it would be focused on working hard. It would be focused on
Prosperous.
productivity,
Growth.
prosperous. Exactly.
Yeah. Success.
But I truthfully think at this point in time, the ideological goal now with this divide is to get like 50+% of the population on some sort of government benefits. So they vote for more of those benefits.
Yes.
And then at that point in time, they're the majority around the country.
Yes.
That's my personal thought on where we're headed. At this point
But
in time.
dude, you know that's where where we're headed. I mean, like,
100%.
we know that.
Yeah.
You know?
So is that a divide we can bridge with just like talking about it?
I don't know. I don't know what the solutions are here. You know, and that's possibly the scariest point of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, yeah, we talk about these things, you know, whether it's on or off the podcast, it doesn't matter. Like we talk about these things all the time, especially with our friends, you know, and especially us three here. But will the people that would fall into that 50+% hear it? You know, and I don't mean like, will they listen to the podcast?
Are they genuinely intelligent enough to comprehend it and hear it, and then
exactly,
and then apply it
and recognize that they're being played? There's still people that are wearing masks. 5 years later, there are still people wearing masks.
Again, we're talking about the ideological divide. Again, we got the Texas floods. People because we talked about the emotional divide.
Yeah, right.
Emotional, non-emotional divide. There's that one too. It's like you talk about that. It's like people cheering. They are also more prone to anger, so they cheer for these what they assume are Republican children, which they're white
which
children.
Is insane.
So you assume a white person. Okay, whatever. Not the point. It's also very racist, but
yeah,
you know, like you cheer for these kids just because the fact they live in a certain state, which by the way, Texas is kind of an occupied state anyways, but that's not the point.
Cheer for them being in trouble.
Exactly.
You know,
cheer for them
danger.
dying in floods or whatever. Like, I don't really feel bad for these people. There's literally videos
Right.
of people saying
No,
exactly
I know.
that. You know what I mean? So then, and you talk about the people with the mask on with COVID. That was a massive divide because you're talking about people that on one side of things, there was at one point like 40+% of people that were like, oh yeah, I'd be okay with them being in camps. If they don't get vaccinated or they don't wear a mask.
Yeah. But we're Hitler.
Sorry, I was like, dude, I bet like that's massive because then you assume that these people in some way want you harmed or dead.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, can I just let that slide? Can I just like vote my way out of this?
No.
Like, can I vote my way out of this? And if I just only vote my way out of this, is the country going to get better for my children? No.
Yeah.
It won't.
Right.
So again, we have ways forward, so to speak, that we can take. We have ways forward, but it takes, especially the young conservative men that we're talking about, the young right-wing men that are ideologically almost all on the same page right now, I would say.
And pissed
off.
Yeah.
Big time. And again, we know plenty of them.
And
plenty of them.
Refreshingly, too, it's been more than what we thought that are around us, too.
Absolutely.
By the way.
Every time we're like, what do you think about this? We're like nudging them.
Yeah.
And they're like, bro.
And then it turns into an hour-and-a-half conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
no, like
100%.
literally, like that.
That's
actually a legit example for us.
Yeah.
But a lot more than what we think.
Yeah.
And a lot more than what they think, too.
And again, that's what it takes because if we're all alone in our own like families and whatnot and separate and whatnot and you know spread out still and whatnot, that it won't work.
No, it won't.
But of all the young conservative men, Gen Z men, because I feel like Gen Z is the generation that's really going to change the world back the right way. Because I think the men are again going to start leading as they should be, anyways. And I think that's going to change things. So like that's how you really change it around. But again, I don't think the idea of like if you vote for the right politician, it's going to save us.
It's
like,
not.
And that's definitely not going to bridge any divide.
No.
Like at some point in time, like when do we be like, oh my gosh, like people have voted for our lives to get worse for the last 50 years. At what point in time is the divide not salvageable?
Right. Because the 50-year generation that you just talked about, they're also the ones that, you know, when the media or politicians say, you know, just wait and see, like, you know, your little minds can't comprehend what we've got going on behind the scenes. It's like, I'm tired of waiting and seeing because waiting and seeing isn't getting us anything, you know? And you guys have been waiting and seeing for 50 years and you're still complaining about the same stuff you were 50 years ago.
Correct.
So it's like, when are you going to see that waiting and seeing hasn't gotten you anything?
Yep.
Whether it doesn't matter what side you're on, doesn't matter what you think about this or that. Just go back and look at the stat sheet for the last 50 years and see that you're batting zero on the things that you wanted changed 50 years ago until now.
Exactly. Yep.
The whole wait and see thing is a ridiculous, it's a propaganda thing from the media. That's all
It's the same thing as a silent majority.
Exactly.
That was the exact same idea.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Well, and you're talking about and again, like as we talked about, baby boomers, Gen X, that generation in general, it's like not all of them are idiots.
No, of course not.
Obviously not.
Of course
not. But like it's the issue of like, because of the fact that after World War II and after those, the greatest generation died off, or so to speak, the baby boomers became the wealthiest generation of all time and still continue to stack wealth. I mean, the median home buyer age right now is like 56 in the United States.
Yeah, which is
insane. Used to be before, I believe, 2000. Before 2000, it was like 31 was the normal age. Or if not even later than that, like before 2010.
And people were winning.
Exactly.
Just in general.
Yeah, and people were winning, but again, like they got complacent with that too.
Yeah.
Baby boomer, Gen X generation. Again, Gen X is not as wealthy as baby boomers, of course, but like they still have, both of those generations have a ton of opportunities that Gen Z, especially men, are realizing we do not have now. It's the opportunities are there, but you have to like bury your way through to get to the opportunities. Like you have to work your balls off to get the opportunities.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Like, I mean, again, like we've been doing this 4 or 5 years. Like it's hard to see progress.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to see progress doing this, and again, like it used to be that we could have just worked in a manufacturing plant or something like that and then ended up having 3 properties.
Yeah. Right.
3 properties, a boat, some ATVs, whatever. That's not, you can't just work in a manufacturing plant nowadays. All those jobs are outsourced.
Right.
They're in India, they're in Vietnam, they're illegal immigrants here. The farm jobs are all outsourced. You used to be able to make a good living doing that.
Right.
So that's a huge divide, because like you have a generation that in the baby boomers that think they've done everything right because they have some money. It's like your world is completely different than ours.
Yeah.
It's completely different. And because you got complacent with the good stuff you had that your parents left you from that World War II generation, we're now in the spot we are at now. So you have that, but again, then you have now a bunch of kids because of that, because those parents also didn't parent from Gen X and baby boomers. Now you have a bunch of kids that are really emotional. That are apparently disabled because you've allowed that to become more of a thing too.
Right.
In basically diagnosing every single person with ADHD.
Yeah.
Or some autism or something else.
Right.
Everybody's a diagnosis these days.
That's the big one.
Yeah. And so everybody's a victim because of that. So you have all this going on. So I worry, because young conservative men, you and I both know, are the people we're on the same page with almost 100% of the topics. Like we're talking 95% plus of the topics. There is no other group of people that is like that.
Yeah.
There's no young conservative women group. There's no young liberal women that we're on the same page with. There's no, minorities that we're on the same page with, whatever it is, like none of it. The young conservative men are the only ones we see that sameness in. And at some point in time, we're going to group up.
Yeah.
And we're going to get shit done like we always have throughout history.
Right.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm just talking into existence now because I'm not letting my kids grow up in a world that isn't a good world.
Right.
We're not going to let this get worse. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Because I don't want to see what's next.
No. So at some point in time, we have to make decisions. We can have all the conversations we want, but there's a point where you're trying to make headway and you're not making headway on conversations on emotional, non-emotional issues, on whether somebody wants you to die and then you just want to vote your way out of it. And we're going to have to pick, we're going to have to make a decision there. It's going to come down to something. Because, I mean, again, that's one thing you run into with a lot of, in the case of a lot of the, like one thing about First Form S2 and the Real AF podcast, like all 3 of those, the people that work for those companies also see the best of the best. And then First Form, if you work First Form or S2, you see the best of the best. Andy is around the best of the best every day. So like in their way, they're like, oh yeah, we can bridge and become unified as a country and whatnot. But then you live in the regular world like we do, and it's like, you don't see that sameness.
No, but those do represent a start.
They do represent a start.
But
I worry that like, okay, you go to Summer Smash, you see 3,000 stud people there. And it's like, okay, is that, what percentage does this represent outside of this?
Sure.
Yeah,
and it's a reasonable question to ask. But, we've talked about how, one person, that one person knows one person, that person knows one person, that. So there is a ripple effect there, and hopefully those messages and those ideas and what have you do make their way out, and they don't just stay within those walls of those places or whatever. Because you're right, you do have a point. and I will say too, some of the conversations we've had that we're kind of alluding to have been with people that work for those companies. So I think it does exist. I don't think those people are delusional.
It does. Well, yeah, I have to remember though, like my point is like when we spend a lot of time around S2 and First Form events and people in general, so we see a really good side of humanity in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that good side of humanity has decreased over the last 50 years big time.
Yeah.
Like either it's apathetic people or it's people who are literally pure evil.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And outside of that. So it's sometimes you have to realize you go into you go into Costco or you go into Walmart in the middle of the day or something like that, or just like an area like Creve Coeur Park. You go to those areas and you're like, oh wait.
Yeah.
This isn't as good as I thought it was hanging around First Form and S2.
I mean, dude, you and I, we're around people all day, every day. We don't work. You do work in an office, but you see different people every single day.
100%. Yeah.
I'm in and out of, well, you just talked about Walmart and Costco, maybe not those two specifically, but I'm in and out of grocery stores every single day. So I'm around and I talk to quote unquote regular people, and you're right. There is a big difference. I can't even tell you, like literally, dude, the amount of times I hear, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. Just living the dream, right? I'm not even kidding. I hear it every single day, at least once.
Oh, it's, yeah.
Like I should honestly record it because I'm not even kidding. And it's like, that sucks, dude. That sucks. Because you think, maybe you don't literally think you're living the dream because it's obviously a sarcastic saying, but you don't see anything past what you're doing.
Well, they're saying living the dream. They're basically in their own mind depressed about their life.
100%.
Usually. Like anybody who says that, it's like they either just had a hard weekend or just, whatever. And you're just sitting in the apathy of that.
Yeah. They don't have a purpose.
Yeah. You can't even be like, hey, how was your weekend, bro? Excuse me. How was your weekend, bro? It was busy. It was tough, but I also saw my cousins this weekend. It was a blast. We got together and actually got to see each other for the first time in a while. Or pick little things out of your weekend or your week that were actually good.
Yeah.
And say, same old.
Mm-hmm.
That like same thing over and over again. Like, don't be such an NPC.
Yeah.
Like, have a little uniqueness to it. Be excited about your life.
Right.
Because that's the thing. If you're not even excited about it, that's also an ideological thing to where you're just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
And you're just there.
Yeah, right.
Because then if you're just there, you ignore all these issues we're talking about.
Correct.
And don't even have any awareness of them.
Correct. Yeah.
So again, is it possible? I think in certain ways it is.
It is.
Bridge the divide.
It is. It's not hopeless. It's hard. It's hard.
But it sounds like I think a lot of people are going to think this is like a black pilling episode. Like just sadness, you know what I mean? The whole, yeah, exactly. Like that's what I think about a black pill. When people say black pill, and I think of that song.
Yes,
100%. Like, oh, we're going downhill, we're screwed.
Yeah,
here in America, we're
too far gone.
We're done for. It's not that. It's like here's the awareness, and then there's also hope that comes along with that awareness too.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that we're noticing this stuff, it's actually a really good sign that like things can go the right direction. Yeah. When you talk to 20 other people, 20 other young dudes who are like ready to go.
Right.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
we have hope.
Absolutely. Guys, we're going to skip the Q&A segment of the episode tonight, or today. I keep saying tonight because it is nighttime when we're recording, but today. But continue submitting those, whether you do them through the email, DMs, texts, or the comments on our social medias. Again, all those questions get sent over to Money Mitch. He then will pick one out that pertains to the episode, a past episode, or it's just a random question. The questions can totally be about anything that you want. So keep submitting those to us. And guys, until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.